The Suicide Squad anime is interesting, but not for the reasons you might think. Earlier last year, the Suicide Squad Isekai anime was announced. And when I first saw this announcement, I was hyped. And why wouldn't I be? We were going to get one of the most popular comic book franchises and the current most popular anime genre, Dragon Ball Z, fusing together to hopefully create something great. If there is one area that DC projects typically excel in, it's their animated projects. I'm one of the few people who thinks that the DCAU is the strongest part of the larger DC franchise. That isn't to say that every movie is a 10 out of 10 cinematic experience, but it does feel like the stories chosen are condensed to the best parts of what makes the comics so fun to read. I am just speculating though. I haven't read the comics because I'm doing serious things, like reading slice of life rom-com manga. The point I'm trying to get to is that animated DC projects, as opposed to their live action counterparts, tend to do much better. And while the Suicide Squad IP initially started off rocky with the 2016 live action movie. Okay, rocky isn't the right word. This movie fucking sucked. And I was there to experience the level of suck firsthand because it was the first movie I remember my sister taking me and my older brother to. This movie was one of my most boring viewing experiences ever. I know I tend to sound very hyperbolic in my videos, but when I say that this movie was the most boring, most pointless, and most bland adaptation to ever be made, I actually mean it. Now, Jesus said that the Borderlands movie was much worse, but I'm never going to watch that. The only good thing about Suicide Squad 2016 was the fact that it showed that Margot Robbie was born to play the role of Harley Quinn, and outside of her and Viola Davis being cast as Amanda Waller, it would have taken a miracle to save the Suicide Squad IP. Foreshadowing is a literary device. In 2021, the Suicide Squad movie came out. James Gunn was the director, and instead of being a PG-13 baby movie like the 2016 movie was, a big ol' R rating was slapped onto it. The plot was actually great. I was happy to see Margot Robbie and Viola Davis return to reprise their roles. The new Suicide Squad was actually interesting, and the comedy, instead of being annoying or borderline cringy, helped break the tension of the darker parts of the movie. Now, in a perfect world, the Suicide Squad movie made $1 billion at the box office, and DC realized that they should actually allow talented directors to make their movies with talented actors and a VFX team that feels like they care about what they are working on. But we don't live in a perfect world. We live in hell. And good things don't happen in hell. Now, I know if you clicked on this video, if you weren't already subscribed, you came here to watch me shit over the Suicide Squad Isekai anime. Hey, I hate to stop you while you're watching the video, but did you know that 99% of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribed? I know. Very sad. Many tears. Please, if you're here, subscribe. Please leave a like. Please leave a comment. Tell me your favorite fruit if you want. It helps with the algorithm. I appreciate you for watching this video, and deuces. And while I am going to do that, I first want to talk about what the Suicide Squad anime is and isn't. So let's start with what the show is. The Suicide Squad Isekai is, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. Animated by Studio Wit, which is the studio most known for the first 3 seasons of Attack on Titan, Spy X Family, one of my personal favorite anime, Vivi Fluorite Ice Song, Ranking of Kings, and other phenomenal anime like Great Pretender and Magus Bride. This gave me a pretty good indication that the anime would at the very least be an amazingly animated show. And it is a very well animated show. The action is animated very fluidly and the choreography is very nice to look at. I bring up choreography a lot when I talk about action scenes, but to basically summarize what it is for anyone who doesn't know what I'm referring to, is basically the movements that are typically being performed in a fight. And the fights in this show are very fun to watch, especially whenever Harley Quinn is on screen, because Harley's chaotic, fast-paced fighting style allows the animators to try out anything they think might make her look cool at any given moment. In regards to the show's music, the opening song doesn't have any lyrics. It's an instrumental, which is certainly a choice, and the ED Go Getters is actually done by VTuber and musician Maury Callaghan.
Hey guys, the penetration is really important.
The penetration is really important.
penetration is really important.
It's actually pretty good. The song is catchy, but I do feel like she was trying to do a Creepy Nuts bling bang bang born style of opening. Something catchy and poppy that would make the show trend on TikTok, but that didn't happen. I honestly feel like the ED and OP were actually reversed because one, I don't like the opening instrumental, and I feel like the ED would have been a nice way to open the show. Maybe Mori could have done 2 tracks and the OP would have been a much darker song. I don't know. I'm just speaking about what ifs. The soundtrack is pretty fun too. It reminds me a lot of Masaru Yokoyama's Mashal soundtrack. The soundtrack strikes that balance of having some chill, lighthearted instrumental tracks along with the normal orchestral string and horn-based songs for the more action-heavy or tense scenes. I was actually shocked to learn that the composer of Re:Zero, Kenichiro Suihiro, was the one who composed the soundtrack for the show. Is it better than some of his other stuff? Not really, but it is still very fun to listen to, and that is a lot of the sentiments I have towards this anime. Is it good? Not really, but it is really fun. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. So let's talk about the plot. From the moment the show starts, it is immediately trying to hook you in. Joker and Harley just got done robbing a bank. Joker starts playing this sick-ass piano ballad on this car's dashboard. Also, there's no steering wheel on this thing, so how the hell does this thing work? He and Harley are being chased down by the police. While all this is happening, Amanda Waller is trying to open a portal to another world. Harley and Joker, for some reason, choose to stop at a bar. And why the hell does Harley do this? Even Joker is shocked by this. I get that Harley is crazy, but she isn't dumb. So how did she think that getting a drink while running for her life would be smart in any way? Some stuff happens. Harley gets into a fight at the same bar she stopped at. She ends up fighting Katana and she loses. Katana captures her and she gets detained. This results in the typical Suicide Squad formation. Amanda Waller puts a bomb in the necks of Harley Quinn and co, and hijinks ensue. The Suicide Squad, comprising of Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Clayface, Peacemaker, and King Shark, are transported to another world. No Truck-kun or random waking up in another world this time, bros. The plot isn't the standard isekai fanfare. There is no self-insert main character, no harems, and no demon kings for the squad to kill. Amanda Waller sent the Suicide Squad to basically set up bases in the isekai world that will allow them to study the new world as well as steal the resources. I mean, farm the resources. No, I mean steal. The squad crash lands, some cool shit happens, and then they get arrested. They run into Rick Flag in prison, and they end up getting involved in the world's politics, and the show's real plot takes place. Harley and the squad have to stop the previous Suicide Squad from doing something? I don't know if I missed something while watching the anime, but Katana, Enchantress, and the Thinker don't really explain why they are the bad guys. Well, the bad guys. They just side with the Empire, fighting against the kingdom of... What is the name of the kingdom again? I know this sounds like a bit, but I swear to you, the kingdom either doesn't have a name or I forgot about it, because a lot of the things that happen in this show are so unmemorable that it's easy to forget about them the longer the show goes on. The show is only 10 episodes as well, but outside of a key few moments like Princess Fiona finally finding the strength to stand up for herself in episode 9, the Thinker failing to destroy Harley's mind and realizing that Harley is so insane that not even mind powers will work on her, and the cool opening scene in the first episode, the show's plot feels like a giant nothing burger, which is a bit sad to see considering that the idea of the Suicide Squad doing the isekai thing is pretty cool, but it's not explored in this show the way it could be. But I am being a bit too harsh, so let me take a few minutes to praise some of the good things in the show. I mentioned at the start, and I feel like I need to mention it again, the action in this show is really entertaining. From Harley fighting Katana in this very juvenile way in the first episode, to the squad being chased down by a dragon in episode 6, and how fast and intense episode 7's fight scenes are. If there is one thing that Studio Wit kept insanely consistent and they only got better the longer the show went on, it was the fight scenes. I also enjoyed the fact that the montage in episode 5 helped skip over the more boring parts of the war the squad is helping in to accomplish their mission. There's only so much you can do within a 10 episode time frame, and it's clear that the show wants to entertain villain first and not tell some deep story. I liked that Harley names the dragon Arthur, a cute little Easter egg that refers to the 2019 Joker movie where Joker's name is Arthur Fleck. I think Harley's madness overpowering the Thinker's manipulation really shows that her psyche has basically been shattered beyond all repair by the Joker, and that she's so insane that even someone like the Thinker, who is one of the smartest people in DC, can't comprehend the madness of Harley Quinn's mind. Now, that's all the praise I have for the show. It only gets worse for me. I mentioned how I enjoyed the montage in episode 5 because it helped speed up the show and kept it from being boring, but that doesn't mean that I don't have a problem with this. We don't really get enough time to explore the world and understand it better. This isekai world feels more like a giant floating continent more than anything else, each with its own different regions and zones. At the end of the montage, the squad ends up in one of these zones. It's a mushroom forest, and we don't get any sense of exploration before they double back to the Orc outpost so they can start Deadshot's side quest of getting more ammunition. One of the many appeals of the isekai genre is exploration, seeing characters go on a fun adventure into a new world that has a different way of operating as opposed to their original world. To use an example of another isekai, let's talk about Mushoku Tensei again. Spoilers for season 1 of Mushoku Tensei, so skip ahead if you want. In season 1, episode 8, the first turning point of the story happens. This turning point results in the main character and everyone he knows getting transported to different parts of the world. The main character ends up on another continent and we see how large the entire world actually is. We get a look at the different cultures. One of the villages that the main character stops in is the home of his magic teacher, and it has these hobbit style houses. There's a town that looks like it was built in the inside of a mountain. There are dangerous forests with giant dangerous monsters prowling them, and there are equally forests with giant trees that the beast races live on, with their settlements being thousands of feet above the ground. Mushoku Tensei feels like an isekai. It feels like we are actually exploring the world as the story progresses. The Suicide Squad anime doesn't have this. I know I said that having a montage is a good thing because it helps with the pacing of the show, but I do think that this lack of exploration hinders how much more enjoyable the story could be. Moving past that, another thing I did not enjoy was some of the character moments. Bringing up Harley Quinn, since she has basically become the poster child of the Suicide Squad, I wish Harley's insanity was explored more. Not to say that Harley wasn't crazy enough, but considering that this is Harley Quinn, this probably feels like a random Tuesday for her. I just wish that we got more of her. I also didn't enjoy Deadshot's character when I was watching the show. Not to say that he has much of any. He's not bad or anything like that, but Deadshot has always felt like he's doing what he has to do for his daughter, even if it means his daughter will end up hating him, and this gets hinted at in 2 episodes once and never gets expanded upon. Another thing I did not like was the absolute stupidity of Clayface having an implant in his neck that would kill him. Amanda Waller is many things. She is cruel, spiteful, a gaslighter, an overall sociopath, but she is not stupid. And the fact that it took me less than a minute to realize how stupid this was the moment Clayface revealed his identity shows me that the writers did not put a lot of thought into what they were writing. And speaking of the writers failing at the writing, let's talk about the inconsistencies of the powers in the world. So when Harley and co crash land into the new world and get captured and put in prison, the group plans to bust out, and in order to do this properly, Clayface uses his powers to open the cells of the other inmates. He has this weird orange glow when he's using his powers, and Harley also has a similar glow when she's fighting someone, although hers is pink. This is the first time Harley uses her powers in the show. Do you want to take a guess as to when she uses her powers again? Is it episode 3? Is it episode 4? Is it episode 9? Episode 9 is when this pink aura returns to Harley Quinn, and Clayface is the only member of the squad who consistently uses his powers. I do understand that Harley doesn't have any powers the way someone like Clayface has powers. She's a gymnast who is incredibly strong and is someone who uses weapons and can fight hand to hand. So whatever power she gained, I would assume would be enhanced strength, but we only see this twice for her, and the other members of the squad don't get any additional power boost to their their already strong abilities. Deadshot doesn't get enhanced accuracy, King Shark doesn't become stronger in water, and Peacemaker remains the same freakishly strong psycho that he's always been. You could say that Rat King's powers become stronger, so there are other characters who get power boosts, but then what about Katana? What about Enchantress? It just feels like the writers didn't know how to add to the already busted superhuman strength of the already existing DC characters, and only gave Clayface the most use out of his powers because they can use his powers at any given moment because his specific power allows for that. Now, at the time of writing the script, the last episode aired, so if the other members used any enhanced powers, then I guess my complaints are invalid, but at the same time, doing this late into the show would still show a ton of inconsistency, and I've been complaining for way too long. I shit you not, I still have 3 more things I want to complain about. I'm probably flashing them on the screen right now, but I feel like if I complain any more, it'll make me look like an anime hater. But I promise this channel does more than just hate on anime. I actually enjoy a lot of the shows that were airing this season, like Makin, Shy Season 2, and No Longer Allowed in Another World. It's just easier to talk about what I dislike more because I'm way too critical of shows I think have potential to be great. With that said, I think I can finally talk about what the show isn't. For the majority of this video, I've been talking a lot about the bad aspects of the show, and I have also mentioned some of the better parts that do make it fun to watch. Hopefully I've painted a pretty decent picture of what the show is. A show with a ton of great action and a pretty okay plot that you can turn your brain off to. It is a bit inconsistent in some areas, but if you are willing to just turn off your brain and enjoy the show for what it is, then you'll have a really good time with the show. I wrote in the script that it is a perfect bingeable show, but I think I can scratch out the perfect part. It is a bingeable anime. But would I recommend you watch it if you haven't already? Not really. A show I do think would be a much better binging experience would be Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I was going to use Edgerunners as a 10 episode anime that does everything and much more in 10 episodes while maintaining the quality of the show and its story when drawing the comparisons of what the Suicide Squad Isekai isn't, but I think it would be easier to just say that Cyberpunk Edgerunners is the perfect 10 episode anime, and I guarantee you will have more fun watching this than watching this. That's been it for me though. I'm interested in hearing what you guys think about the show. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you on the fence about it? Tell me all in the comments. I respond to those. As you can tell, I'm trying something new for my content. Think of this as a preview for my upcoming Ghibli video and how the quality of my videos will only get better from here. I know I said that the video will be out at the end of the month, but I actually didn't realize the scale of the project. I just thought it would be like a 30-minute long video with my thoughts, but I actually want the video to be great and well informed and an actual deep dive that isn't just me regurgitating the plot of the movies to you. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I apologize for the long outro. Did you stay until the end? If you did, I have a Discord. I also have a Patreon too. Also, subscribe! I see you. You're still here. Why aren't you subscribing, bro?